Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to tackle one of the most exciting steps for any developer. Taking that app you've built, the one in a container on your laptop, and sending it out into the world on Azure Kubernetes service. This is where your project really comes to life. So, let's get right into it.
So think about it. You've put in the hours, you've written the code, you've debugged it, and you finally got it all wrapped up in a nice, neat container. It works like a charm on your machine. But then comes that big question, what's next? How do I actually get this thing out there for people to use?
And that is the real mission, isn't it? It's all about closing that gap between your local setup and a truly global, scalable cloud environment. It feels like a massive leap, but trust me, we're going to break down the entire journey so it's not so scary.
Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we'll lock in our mission. Then we'll pack our toolkit with everything we need. After that, we'll drop the blueprints, the instructions for Kubernetes. Then comes the exciting part, the launch. And finally, I'll give you a little flight manual, just in case we hit any turbulence.
First things first, the mission. Look, you can't start a journey without a destination. Our goal is simple and clear: to get your app deployed on a live AKS cluster, make it available to the world, and feel confident about how it all works.
All right, you wouldn't climb a mountain without the right gear, right? Same thing here. Before we write a single line of configuration, we've got to pack our toolkit. Getting this stuff ready beforehand is, well, it's absolutely key to making sure everything goes smoothly.
So here's your pre-launch checklist, the 3 big things you need. Number 1, an actual running AKS cluster. That's our launchpad. 2, you need the Azure CLI setup and talking to your account. And 3, your app's container image needs to be ready and waiting in a place like Azure Container Registry. Get these 3 ducks in a row, and I promise the rest is way, way easier. With our toolkit ready to go, it is time to become architects. We need to draft the blueprints. And in the Kubernetes universe, our blueprints are written in YAML. Now, don't just think of these as boring config files. No, they are the literal instructions that tell Kubernetes exactly what to build and how to manage it.
So the very first blueprint we're going to need is for something called a deployment. The best way to think about a deployment, it's like a project manager for your application. Its entire job is to look at your instructions and then work nonstop to make sure reality matches them. You say, I want 3 copies running, and the deployment makes sure 3 copies are always running.
Okay, let's peek inside that blueprint. One of the first and most important words you're going to see is this one right here, replicas. Replicas is pretty straightforward. It tells our project manager how many copies or pods of our app to run. But here's the magic. If one of those pods crashes for some reason, the deployment sees that reality. Only 2 pods are running now, doesn't match your instructions for 3. So what does it do? It automatically starts a new one. That's self-healing, and it's a total game changer.
All right, so the deployment knows it needs to manage, say, 3 pods. But how does it know which 3 pods are its responsibility? I mean, you could have tons of different apps running in the same cluster. That's where the selector comes into play. The selector is basically a matching game. You put a label on your pods, kind of like a digital name tag that says app, my cool app. Then in the deployment's blueprint, you tell its selector, hey, go find and manage anything with that exact label. It's a really simple but super powerful way that Kubernetes connects all the dots.
And this quote just nails our next big problem. We've got our app running, it's healthy, it's being managed, but it's totally isolated inside the cluster. It's like we built this amazing, fully functioning office building, but we forgot to install any doors. Nobody from the outside can get in.
So, to build those doors, we need our second blueprint, a Kubernetes service. The service acts as both the public entrance and the main traffic director. It's the thing that opens up your app to the internet and gives it a single, stable IP address so people can actually find it.
Now, if we look inside the service blueprint, the most important part is this section right here. Ports. This is where we tell the traffic director exactly where to send all the visitors. What you're doing here is basically saying, okay, Mr. Service, any traffic that shows up from the internet on port 80, I want you to forward it along to my app's containers, which are listening on port 8080. It's that final piece of the puzzle that connects the outside world to your running code.
Okay, the blueprints are drafted, our toolkit is packed. This is it. It's time for the best part, the launch. We're going to apply these files to our cluster, and then, and this is super important, we're going to double check that everything actually worked.
And this is the moment of truth. First, we check the internal view with kubectl get pods. This just confirms, yep, our project manager did its thing, the app is running inside the cluster.
Then we switch to the public view with kubectl get service. And that command, that's the one that gives you the public IP address. You can literally copy that IP, paste it in your browser, and boom, there's your app, live, for the whole world to see.
Now let's be real. Even the smoothest launches can hit a little bit of turbulence. So let's open up our flight manual and go over a couple of the most common issues you might run into.
So you type in your command, you hit enter, feeling good, and bam, permission denied. It's super common and super frustrating. What in the world is going on?
9 times out of 10, the culprit is something called Role-Based Access Control, or RBAC. So here's your quick check. Go into your Azure settings and look at the RBAC configuration for your AKS cluster. You need to make sure that whatever identity you're using has the right permissions, like cluster admin, to actually make changes.
Okay, here's another classic. Your deployment works, you see the pods being created, but they're just stuck. They never turn green, they never say running. And if you look closer, you see a weird error like image pull back off. That's Kubernetes telling you, hey, I'm trying to grab your container image, but I can't get to it.
For that one, here's your checklist. First, double and triple check that your AKS cluster has been given permission to pull images from your container registry. That link between the two is vital. If that looks good, the next thing to check is the network. Sometimes a firewall rule or a network security group is accidentally blocking the cluster from reaching out to the registry.
And just like that, you've done it. You've taken code that was sitting on your laptop and you've launched it as a live application on the global cloud. You've seen the whole process, from the blueprints to the launch, and you even know how to handle the common bumps in the road. So the only real question left is, now that you have this power, what amazing thing are you going to build next?